Díoghaibh go léir cóide agus tá fáilte rót. Welcome to Be My Guest with me, Mary Honan on Lear Media TV, supporting the Samaritans, Limerick and Tipperary, Clare's Wish Foundation in Limerick and Deal Animal Rescue in West Limerick. Now, seldom do we meet heroes and people with outstanding bravery in life, and I would have to say that my next guest counts among those, and he is Dolkun Isa. Dolkun Isa is a Uyghur politician and activist from the region of Xinjiang, a Uyghur Autonomous Region of China. He is the third and current president of the World Uyghur Congress, in office since the 12th of November 2017. Dolkun previously served as General Secretary and Chairman of the Executive Committee of the Congress, respectively, and has spoken on behalf of the rights of the largely Islamic minority Uyghurs, which makes up the majority population in that region, as well as presented Uyghur human rights issues to the United Nations Human Rights Council, European Parliament, European governments, and international human rights organizations. I was told about Dolkun recently in an interview I did with our own Irish woman, Emma Reilly, a human rights lawyer working for the High Commission for Human Rights, who blew the whistle on some members of the United Nations activities in giving names such as Dolkun Isa's to the Communist Chinese government ahead of their planned visit to the United Nations to appeal for help in stopping China with their human rights violations. So it's my great privilege to interview Dolkun Isa. Hello, Dolkun. How are you?
Well, thank you. Very well. Yes. How are you?
Yeah, I'm sure. You know, I'm grand. You're there in Germany.
I'm in Germany.
You're a German citizen now.
I'm the German citizen. Yes, since more than 16 years.
16 years. My goodness. But you've had, as I said in my interview or the introduction, you've had a very difficult life, we'll say. You've been separated from your family and friends for the greater part because of your political views and because of your fighting for the Uyghur people. Could you tell us when it became, I suppose, when you became interested in your people's plight?
Well, thank you. Thanks for your question. Thanks for having me. Yes, and I left my country in 1994. Since 27 years, I haven't never visited my country again. I have never seen my friends, parents, brothers, sisters. It is really difficult. Before I left my country, normally I didn't want to leave my country because I was forced to leave because I was a students leaders, democracy students movement leader in 1988. When I was a student, Xinjiang University, so-called Xinjiang University, and I was a students activist. Because of this, I was kicked out of the university at my last semester of the university. That's why I was not able to graduate from the university.
You were studying physics, am I right?
I was studying physics, yes, physics. I enrolled the Xinjiang University in 1984 and until 1988, 4 years I studied Xinjiang University. So 1985, after 1 year later, I started university. There is a big student demonstration pro-democracy. The students' movement was happening. I was very actively joining this demonstration. This is the turning point of my in my mind. And when I came to the university, I was thinking a lot of and so many questions in my mind, because I learn at the university. We study because each week, Wednesday afternoon, there was the political class. During the political class, we learn political discussion from the central government's directive, and also we discuss Chinese constitution, and also discussing about autonomic constitution, autonomic law, because we call East Turkestan, but China official calls Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region. It is Chinese constitution is the autonomic region. So there is a autonomic law as well. If we learn Chinese constitution and autonomic law, we have a lot of right. But in the reality, we haven't never seen it. This right was never implemented. This is the big question in my mind. Well, according to the Chinese constitution, we have a right, for example, assembly right, freedom of speech, equality, everything. Very nice. But why in the reality, we couldn't see it?
In reality, you saw no freedom of
exactly, no freedom, exact. And so we daily time we have faced discrimination daily life, and so many questions come into my mind, saying, well, why the constitution is we have this right, but in the reality, why not implement it? And this is the question starting in my mind, For example, in the autonomic law, Uyghur language is first language in the Xinjiang, so-called Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region. In Turkestan is Uyghur language. Even today, also first language, Uyghur language is Chinese language together.
Yeah.
And also protected religious right, linguistic right, cultural right, and also according to the Chinese constitution and autonomic law, for example, this is the natural resource should be shared. Equality is the native people and the government. But the Uyghur people Turkestan is a very rich country. We have a very rich natural resource, petrol, uranium, gas, everything. But the daily time is the Uyghur people. We have no right to use and for this natural resource. Everything is transported to the Beijing without pay any Uyghur. Uyghur is people living under poverty line, and the poor people. This is the question when I was teenagers, and why, and so many questions in my mind. Then 1987, I formed one students' union.
Yeah.
Yes, Students' Cultural Scientists Union, because we are educated, we are proposed to teaching or educated of people, because more than 70-80% Uyghurs are analphabetic, because rural area, no school. So if you are analphabetic, you are not educated people, even more than 80% people, Uyghur, maybe 90% people, among them Uyghurs, they didn't know what kind of constitutional autonomic right we have. They don't know. Just how Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region, what is this meaning? Most of some people don't know. Even before I came to the Xinjiang University, I didn't have any idea on this,
But the Uyghur people, they're the majority. They're a minority group in China. They're a minority group of people in China, but yet they're the majority in the region that you came from, and they're being persecuted. How I came to know of you was through Emma Reilly, who is a whistleblower for the, she blew the whistle on the United Nations. She works for the High Commissioner for Human Rights as a lawyer. And she noticed that the United Nations were giving China the names of Uyghur Muslims who were planning to speak at the United Nations, one of whom was you. Yes, and yes. Your name was given, and you believe that your mother, who died shortly afterwards, died in a concentration camp in order to put pressure on you not to speak.
Yeah, this is the one thing. Before answering this question, I would like to make some corrections. So, and we are Uyghur, we are not minority. As you said, we are in the majority. We were majority in our homeland. This land, and this we call Turkestan. This is the occupied country, occupied by the Chinese Communist Army in 1949. The Chinese government proposed is the Uyghur being a minority. You know, if you compare the Chinese populations than other nations, then whole the world, entire world is minorities and Chinese people. You know, so actually we are not, because in China have 56 nations. If some of them minority in China, but Tibetan, Uyghur, we are not minority own country. So it is this minority, this term for the Uyghurs really not correct term. Yeah, this is the one thing. Yeah, but however, and as I say, Chinese constitution as a guarantee autonomy for the Uyghurs and so many rights, but we didn't have never seen real any sign the real autonomy on the daily life. All political, economic, cultural, scientists, religious, all right has been continued violated by the Chinese government since the occupation. Yeah, so we are raising this issue to the United Nations, some international platform, and the UN Human Rights Council is one of the important platform discussing the right of the every human being. This is the right place or forum to discuss this. That's why I personally attending UN Human Rights Committee, Human Rights Council, and the treaty bodies meeting since 1999. Of course, that time Uyghur cause is not the well-known cause. Very few people know, even nearly no one knows this issue. But we continually rise to the Uyghur issue and the human rights violation by the Chinese government against Uyghur. We rise to the UN Human Rights Commission, Human Rights Council, Human Rights Committee. At the beginning, China is not very ignorant all, because nobody really involved in this case. But since 2010, or particularly, yes, then Uyghur issue coming one of the little bit known issue, and we constantly World Uyghur Congress, and attending all section of the Human Rights Council, but China is really unhappy for this. And China also use its economic power, trying to manipulate it, and the UN human rights system, and some other international system, not only UN human rights system, and also, for example, Interpol, for example, World Health Organization, different of the World Trade Organization. All China 20 years ago was not the economic power, but at least since the last 10-15 years, China is being more economic power, and then use its economic power and trying to manipulate it UN human rights system. So that's why China trying to stop my attendance to the UN meetings. Yeah.
They also tried to stop you from getting in, from what I researched, into Taiwan, which doesn't, Germany seems to have some agreement with Taiwan that they don't need passports. But for some reason or other, you had to have a passport. and they didn't let you in the end. They said because you had said you were going on a holiday, when in actual fact you said publicly later that you were going to a conference. They were asked if China had interfered to stop you from going to Taiwan, and they said that yes, that China had said you were on an Interpol list
Yes, yes.
to stop, and that they stopped you for protection. How powerful has China become as a
Well,
nation? It seems to
yes,
have control over everybody.
yes. China is the no is the use it is economic power, and they're trying to block Uyghur, Tibet, and activists, and they're trying to use the hostage. I was not. Taiwan is not only the country I was not let me to enter. You know, it's so many countries I cannot travel so far. Even I was detained 4 days, 2009, in the South Korea.
Yeah.
When I was the one of the, attending one of the international conference, I was detained. I had faced to deport to China nearly, and German Foreign Ministry, U.S. State Department is all working very hardly. They are saved my life in the last minute. And today I cannot travel quite a lot of country. Even India denied my visa as well. India is the one of the strong economic and huge population, and even India also denied my visa. Even I detained in the Italy. I'm the German citizen. I'm the European citizen.
And you were detained.
Besides this, I was detained 2017 when I was Rome. Well, and it was happening in the middle of Europe because of the Chinese interface, because of the Chinese.
I was really surprised to hear that you were detained, that you were initially granted permission to enter India, and people thought, well, India, this is great, India is standing up to China. And then at the last minute, you were refused permission to enter India. And it turns out that India had buckled to China.
Yes, it is. So, and well, at the beginning, I got the electronic visa, and somehow Chinese government learned about my traveling to India. Then the Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman made a strong protest and asked India government, Dolkun is the criminal terrorist, and he is Interpol. He has his name is Interpol list, should not be allowed to enter. Then just 1 week later, I got another email from the India consulate. They informed me my electronic visa was denied. So that's why I couldn't enter. You know, China, that's why saying Taiwan is not only the country blocked me, India, even today I cannot enter Turkey, and some country I cannot dare to travel. Well, it is the reality because China really powerful now, trying to block and me and some other Uyghur activists to traveling. This is the situation, and I was suffering more than 21 years by the Interpol red notes. Red notes, you know, China blames a terrorist, criminal, but I had never stopped to seeking my right. Finally, 2018, more than two years, and almost 3 years, my red notice was delayed by the Interpol. But until delayed 1918, I was suffering a lot. As I said, because of the red notes, I was detained so many country border. I detained in Italy. Even 1999, that time I was not a German citizen. I had this refugee status. I was detained in the Frankfurt as well. I was detained in front of the United Nations, Geneva, 2004. No, I was questioned more than 6 hours by the Swiss police. Well, it is the reality, and there's so many. Even I was deported from United States as well, 2006, when I was I got German citizen. Then I was visit Washington. I was stopped in the Dallas airport. Up to 23 hours later, I was deported to Germany. I'm working on this my case, and the second, I never stopped to fight them. Finally, I got the U.S. government is correct this mistake, and they let me to enter since 2012. No problem. Almost 9 years. I travel a lot. Even I got the democracy award by the NED, and also I got the prize for the Communism Memorial Foundation for my advocacy rights for the Uyghur rights. No, it's fine, but still, I couldn't travel a lot of country.
You couldn't you couldn't travel to Korea either.
No, I could not. Even after my red notes was delayed up to 2018. So I think the end of 2018 to beginning of 2019, I got another invitation, one of the conferences, South Korea. So I applied to the, no, I know normally is German passport, no need visa, but however, I contacted Korean mission in Germany because they know my case, and I asked them why my red notes was delayed. I got another invitation for this. Can I travel? Because I make sure if I will go to the Korea, will not be face same problem. And then, well, we will contact the capital. Then I was waiting more than 3 months. Then finally, I got the response. I'm not welcoming to the Korea. This is the answer. Yes.
I mean, Korea is a bastion, as we all know, of democracy and human rights, and they actually deny you on the grounds that they consider you a terrorist.
Yes, it is. Yes. So before I faced such a problem, I could never imagine such a thing as was happening in South Korea, because it is the democratic country, it is the model of the democracy in Asia. I was thinking this. So in the Asia countries, so far I can travel in Japan without any problem. You know, I can travel Australia in the Asia Pacific, but quite a lot of some other Asian country I cannot travel. Yeah.
Tell me, why did you decide to set up? You were one of the founders of the World Uyghur Congress. Why did you feel, and did you get much support from countries?
Well, World Uyghur Congress actually official from 2004, but the World Uyghur Congress have a long history. In 1949, East Turkestan, my country, has been occupied by the Chinese Communist Army. Then some of our former leaders escaped from East Turkestan and they settled down in India, then later and they settled down in Turkey. After Soviet Union collapse, 1991, then all the Uyghur leaders gathering together in 1992 Istanbul. They are called East Turkestan National Congress. But Turkish political space not very allowed to continue doing this work for the World Uyghur East Turkestan National Congress. Then 1999 and move to the Germany. So that time in the two umbrella organizations head were in Germany. One of the World Uyghur Youth Congress, I was a head of this organization, as Turkestan National Congress. Then two organizations merged, united together, 2004, then called World Uyghur Congress. So I'm not only the founder of this country, I was one of the co-founder for the World Uyghur Congress, yes, co-founder. And I was elected General Secretary. And 2017, I was elected 6th General Assembly, and I was elected as a president. World Uyghur Congress main purpose, and we are promote democracy among them Uyghurs and the East Turkestan, and the protect the human rights of the Uyghur people, and the self-determination right according to the UN international law. This is the purpose. So, World Uyghur Congress, we are doing advocacy work at the United Nations, particularly UN Human Rights Council. because, as I said before, it is the one of the important platform to discussing the human rights issue. And we are also working advocacy work, European institution, European Parliament, European Council, European Commission, and also we are doing lobbying work as different of national parliament, national government, particularly in the democratic countries. Yeah, so, and we're also doing some research work. We publish report and the capacity building, educate young generation, and we are also helping refugees. Uyghur refugees crisis, one of the important problem Uyghur people have been faces, and we are helping to them. Yeah, so World Uyghur Congress as a representative organization among some Uyghur people, we have very huge responsibility. We are trying to raise the Uyghur issues since many years, but as I said at the beginning, very few people know the Uyghur issue recently, yes. But so far today, the Uyghur cause is one of the well-known cause, because since 2014, current president of Xi Jinping of China, he turned from assimilation policy to genocidal policy. Today, Chinese government, Chinese Communist Party really commit genocide against the Uyghur. Yeah, so this is that's why World Uyghur Congress responsibility more responsible than ever. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty. I mean, I did my doctorate on childhood during World War II, and under Nazism, and you hear about the concentration camps and the death camps and the transit camps and the re-education camps and that, and you're hearing it all again now in the 21st century, and it's coming from China. And we're making the same mistakes again. We're bending to a power that's that the world is bending to a power that's economically powerful, to a country that's economically powerful, at the detriment of citizens of that country who were just turning a blind. What was your feelings when you heard the likes of Emma Reilly talking about coming out and exposing what she says is the UN giving your names ahead of time? How dangerous is that for people like you who are? I didn't, before this interview, I announced on my pages that I was going to be interviewing somebody. I didn't mention your name ahead of time for that very reason. I didn't want to put anybody in danger by finding out that you were coming on to talk.
Well, it is, for me, is no problem. You can announce my name, because you know, and this is quite dangerous. Since I left my country, and when I started and advocacy right for my people, well, my whole family were under pressure. You know, since 27 years, every day, my family, my parents, my brother, all, and watching, monitoring by the Chinese government, Chinese police. Even I couldn't. Today is 21st century. We just talk with you, use Zoom, face to face, but I didn't have any chance until died of my mother's. I didn't have a chance to video chat, you know. This is when, and then I left my country in 1994. That time technology was not developed as today. That time now is a Zoom or some video chat program, just to talk telephone. But at least such a technology developed up since the last 10 years or 15 years. Skype, for example, more than 20 years, people can communicate each other. But I didn't have such a right, because my family they didn't have a right to use the internet. Can you imagine? So they are suffering a lot. Since the 2016, everything is dramatically changed because whole the Uyghur who living in exile, nearly 90% Uyghur who living in exile have lost contact with a family member. I'm one of them. Very lost telephone communication. My mother, my parents, middle of April 2017, already 4 years, I have completely lost contact.
How difficult is that for you? Because, Dolkun, because you are so completely driven by highlighting the injustice done to, am I right in saying that the Uyghurs are Sunni?
Yes.
Yes. How you're completely driven by that, but you're also aware, you have to be aware of the dangers that your family and your friends and your loved ones are in. That must place you in an awful dilemma about whether to say nothing and keep your family safe, or watch as your family and your people, your fellow Muslims, your fellow Sunnis, your fellow Uyghurs are being persecuted. It's awful to be that. It must be awful to be that difficult, to be that driven by an injustice that you're willing to sacrifice being exiled forever, never seeing your family again.
Yeah. So I told you, I was a students leaders. I was the host arrested when I was in Turkestan. Then after I left, my family was suffering. I know that when I continued doing the advocacy and how dangerous my family, because Chinese Communist Party is and have a heritage to the hostage policy. This is very common. If I do something in the Western country, if I do some wrong, I should be accountable, hold accountable myself, not my family member. But in China, no. If you do something, then whole family, whole friend, whole relative is held accountable.
Blackmail.
Yes, blackmail. I know that. But freedom is not free. If everybody will be silenced, if I will be silent because of the safety of my family, others will be silent because of their family, then who will be speaking out? This is the Chinese, and today is 21st century, and so many democratic countries exist in today's, because today's Europe, today's democracy is coming. Also, some people in the past paying price. Is not today's democracy, Western democracy. It's not coming themselves because of this Western democracy coming to this level. So many brave people in the past and paying the price, maybe pay the life for this.
Yes.
Then today's generation and they has a happy life. So say freedom, human right, democracy is not coming themselves. Some generation must be paid the price. Yeah. So I paid a lot of price. Yes. My mother died in the concentration camp. She was 78 years old ladies. And because of my activism speaking as the United Nations, some other place, and the Chinese government, and a lot of pressure to my family. Yes, I was feeling not very good, but it is my obligation.
Yeah.
It's my obligation because today I have such an opportunity. I have such a capacity to raise the Uyghur issue. And if I have such a capacity, opportunity, possibility to raise this issue, if I continue silent, this is the mistake. This is the mistake because I was a students leader. A couple of thousand people and the follow me went the street at that time 35 years ago. They believe me. So I was feeling I carrying huge responsibility because thousands of my schoolmate, classmate, 1980s, they are waiting some hope from me, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I carry this responsibility. That's why I couldn't not just thinking of my family. I have to thinking couple of thousands of people. This is my response. That's why
Huge responsibility, though, Dolkun, on you, because it has left you unable to go into many countries,
yes,
regarded, I suppose, as a terrorist by many, unjustifiably so, not protected by the United Nations, who is supposed to be there to protect you and to be your advocacy group, and not able to see your family ever again.
it is. Yes, it is. It is very sad. I couldn't. As they say, since I left, I couldn't see my family. But no, is I never seen my mother. Because she already died. I never seen my father. She died. He died. He died. But I don't know where is my brother and sister. This is the problem too. But this is not only my story. Whole Uyghur who has same story, even some story is horrible than my story. At least I had the opportunity to talk this issue. I had some opportunity. I had some capacity to raise this the being a voice of the voiceless peoples. But still, so many Uyghurs today, more than 3 million Uyghurs, they are suffering concentration camp. Among them, I truly believe 100,000 of Uyghur, they are really willing to be in same position with me.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they didn't have such opportunity, you know.
How did you get citizenship? How did it come about that Germany opened its hands? And you know, the irony of my research is that it back to Germany again. But how was it that Germany opened its arms and welcomed you, and became a protector, if you like, of you?
Yeah, so I came to Germany in 1996. I sought political asylum. I sought political asylum. Of course, that time, German government have no idea on me. Even German government also not very well knows the Uyghur issue as well, you know. So, however, Germany is a democratic countries, and they have a law. It's the rule of law. They have the refugees law as well. And according to the 1951 Refugee Convention, and my asylum application was accept.
Excellent.
The review, accept. At that time, when I came 1996 in Germany, maybe 50, 60, not too much, maybe 50 or maybe 60, not over the 100 Uyghurs refugees in Germany, you know. I was one of them. Their review, and because I had some document, and I told you, 1988, I was a student leader. They kicked me also from university. I have all documents that time. At least that time, Chinese government, when punish you, give you some written document. Today is impossible. Today is not possible. And I have the all document. I submit this to German government. Then they review all my documents. They believe I, the person, I must be protected by the international law and the German law. So I got asylum seekers. Well, then after 10 years later, and according to the German law, and you have a long a long time permanent in Germany, and if you don't have any criminal record, and your taxpayer pay, and if you integrate this country, and every condition, if you be already done, then you have a right to application to citizenship. So I applied to the German citizen. That time is 1994. Oh no, 1994. No, I got citizenship 2006. Is beginning of 2000. That time is if your all condition is you already all the requirement you already done, just 6 to 8 months time review all your document and this process will be finished. But my process was taking more than 2 years. My process, because China pressured the German government, because Chinese government already put my name to the Interpol list and put my name to the terrorist list 2003, you know.
But paid to Germany, it has to be said, for not bending to pressure from China.
Germany had been a lot of pressure by the Chinese government, as I
can imagine.
Pressure German government, asked them to return, send me back to China. But Germany is the rule of law. This is the country, everything, and the Chinese government thought like Germany is like China, you know, it's just a political decision. Maybe if there is not country law, just everything is done political decision, maybe easy to me send back to China. But this is the country, rule of law. I have a constitution right here, and everything is a process on the law. Then they are monitoring all my activity, they're checking my background, everything. Then and they approve my citizenship. It will take a little bit longer than usual process.
Must have been a great.
After I got German citizen, also Chinese government and accuse and a lot of pressure blames the German government as well, you know.
But it must have given you great sense of relief when you had a country that was accepting you, and a country from where you could work for the Uyghur Muslims, and where you could be free and express your feelings without fear.
Sure. So I'm very. That's why I am very thankful, grateful for the German government. Not only give me the citizenship, also. And I told you 2009 when I was the first to deport to China, that time, and the German government really hard work with some United States, some other it is alliance, some other country, and really strong pressure to the South Korea government, and they have saved my life in the last time. When I was detained in Italy, also German government immediately take action, ask them, we never recognize red notes, please leave.
Which confuses me then, given all of that, and given Germany's and the allied countries that had all joined together to protect you and to deny you being returned to China. Why, in God's name, would the United Nations release your name ahead of time to the Chinese government before you had a chance, and put your family and put other people's families in jeopardy?
It is the big shame and this big stand of the United Nations, particularly Human Rights Council, Human Rights Commission, because normally UN, Human Rights Commission, Human Rights Council, it is the place protects the people like me, human rights defenders. But unfortunately, UN, Human Rights Council or High Commissioner Office is cooperate with the Chinese government and cooperate with the dictator regime, authoritarian regime. This is really unacceptable situation. You know?
Totally unacceptable.
Is the principle of established by the UN Human Rights Council. It is how discuss. This is the place how discussion finds a way how to better protection of human rights.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, this council, this human rights system, is lost its own funding propose.
Yeah.
Because like country like China, some other authoritarian regime more powerful than other democratic country.
Yeah.
Because 48 members of the Human Rights Council, if you look at, then this the most of the member of the Human Rights Councils, the state, it is the authoritarian countries.
Yeah.
And so it is the non-acceptable situation. China is the one of the member of this. Normally, China should not have a right to member of Human Rights Council, because this Chinese government not only and the country just a human rights violation, but also commit genocide 21st century. How is it acceptable? But it is the reality. So that's why, and because China used its economic power, trying to monopolize it and trying to change UN norm.
Well, the United Nations deny. They say that many countries ask ahead of time to confirm if such a person or such a person or such a person is attending, and they let it be believed that they were confirming, but in actual fact, China didn't have your name on a list. They didn't say, is Dolkun Isa attending the event? They said, who is attending the event? And the UN, according to Emma, handed them your name and others. They weren't asked, was Dolkun Isa attending? So there was no reason for them to give your name other than, and if the United Nations is so afraid to upset China or any one particular member state, then why are we thinking that the United Nations is there for us, for our human rights, when it clearly isn't? And what do you think Ireland can do, the Irish government can do to ensure the safety of the Uyghur people and your family?
You know, and according to the UN rule, any participant and the human rights defender's name should not be shared with the country. This is against the rule. But this human rights councils and violated it is own rule, own constitution, and share, unfortunately, some activist name to the country. Particularly, I think is maybe China is the only one or of the few of one country who constantly pressure to the secretariat to get this list. But UN official can refuse it. But sometimes, like Amy, she refused residence for this, but some officers and cooperate with China. This is the really unacceptable situation. However, I was not, so far, I was not stopped to attending UN Human Rights Council session in Geneva, but 2017, I was kicked also from the UN in New York.
You were, yeah.
Yes, because I got accreditation, everything is normal, but because of the Chinese pressure, and I was kicked out.
And nobody would have known you were attending had your name not been given. And according to the UN Council's rules, if a country wants to know this information, any country wants to know this information, when Turkey requested it, they were denied. And they have to ask in front of the member states. And this did not happen. They just simply went to the UN, went to one person, and she released the names.
Yes, it is. Yes. So, and actually, if UN official will not share this list, well, maybe Chinese government can, because Chinese government's official in the United Nations, they all the time when I attending, they're monitoring me, takes pictures, video of them sometime. Also, someone follow me. I had a lot of experience on this. But this is another issue, of course, when we attend them and the Chinese mission can see. But I have quite a lot of document as well. So Chinese mission time to time write a letter to I have a copy of this letter to and High Commissioner Office asking them, don't give me the accreditation and accuse me as a terrorist, terrorist. Well, I have a lot of evidence, but I'm, to be honestly, before 2016, I didn't know. I have no knowledge because this confidential email exchanging between UN High Commissioner Office to the Chinese mission. Time to time, when I attending came to the UN badge office, sometimes I was waited. I was stopped a couple of hours, and asked something, and some document again. But however, I was not refused my accreditation.
Yeah.
But when I was at the camp to the UN, and a lot of question, and because I attended since 1999, I never broken any rule of the UN, and I peacefully attended because China all the time accused, oh, he's a terrorist, threatened to the diplomat's life, he's a terrorist, blah blah blah, something like. But UN know who I am, because I'm. If you check the UN database, and since when, and I was attending UN, and I have never single broken the UN rule. They know that they can no. They have a right. We don't share because they should be at least okay. They should not be. I'm not asking they are protecting me. At least they are protecting UN rule, own rule. If the UN, according to UN rule, any activist or any participationist should not be sharing to the countries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what do you hope, Dolkun, from the Irish government? I mean,
well, Irish government is the member of the European Union and the member of the United Nations. So Irish is the democratic countries, and also Irish government should use its power to protect it, and the human rights defender like me to freely attend them to the UN Human Rights Council. Not only me, and some Tibetan, some Taiwanese, and the activists also time to time had the same problem. So Irish government have some responsibility to protect UN international law.
And Hong Kongers.
Hong Kongers, of course. Hong Kongers also. They had also time to time face a problem. So Irish government, its mission should be more active, and protects the human rights. So far, Irish government position not bad all the time, and speaking out and signed jointly statement against Chinese government genocidal policy against Uyghurs. Irish government signed 2018 before the UPR on China. I visit Dublin. I had a meeting as a foreign affairs, Irish foreign affairs. Yeah, so we had a meeting with them and explain everything. And the Irish government also one of the country to raise the Uyghur issue during the Human Rights Council section. So it is good, we appreciate, but it's not good enough because Chinese government committed genocide against Uyghur. So it is a time, we are happy. Irish government also one of the 27 country in the European country to sanction against the Chinese high level official, but it is not good enough. should be more active as a United Nations, European Union, and set up a coalition with some other country, was one of the alliance, to stop this genocide. Irish government can do, and also some Irish company should stop the business with China, because today is business as not usual. Yeah.
But Dolkun, it's a hard task for any one country. Like, just say, for instance, Ireland is so small. We can be vocal. We can stand up, and we should stand up. We absolutely should stand up and speak out about persecution. But China, what do you say to people who will say China is so massive? It's got such wealth. It's providing. It's an economic giant, if you like, and it would. Do you think that there's power in numbers, and if all of the countries in Europe and America sanction China, that's the only way that China is going to buckle down? Because China can then retaliate with economic sanctions against any individual country. Do you think that there's absolute power in numbers, and if all of Europe and America, Canada, Australia sanction China? And
but there is the only way to United States and whole Europe and some other democratic country, not only democratic countries, whole the countries should be stand up against the Chinese government, because now it's a committee. It is not simple human rights violation. Human rights violation was happening everywhere with different level. But now is the 21st century. Chinese government committed genocide. Is not genocide not happening everywhere. So that's why I told you business should not be as usual. So all the countries, particularly Western country, democratic country, should be set up a coalition, united, and they sanction Chinese government. Stop the business.
It's the only way to do it.
Yes. So coalition is the only way. Other way, just condemning and soft condemning, speaking out, but not sanction Chinese government, Chinese company, or kind of official. It is not way to stop, because China 30 years ago, for example, 1989, Tiananmen students movement was cracked on. That time, European Union also sanctioned Chinese government, but Chinese government never sanctioned any European country, because in 1989, China was not such economic around the world. So that's why China need Western technology, Western money.
Now
everyone is China. Say everyone defend me. Everyone is need my money, my market. So that's why China not ignored all international warning. So that's why we asking to the whole democratic nation, particularly Western countries, should be united and stop the business, sanction Chinese government. This only way stop the China. This is the obligation. This is the legal and the moral obligation.
Well, I wish you every success, Dolkun, in your endeavors. And I have to say, it's been an absolute privilege sitting down and talking with you.
My pleasure.
You know, very seldom in life you get to meet heroes, real heroes.
Thank you.
And I think you're one of them.
Thank you.
And I wish you all the best, and I wish your people.
Thanks for your support, and thanks for you having me. Thank you.
Thank you. Shindera Leshon Clor, that's the end of the show. Until the next time, Lacuna of Day, Bawalam Tugalir, Chiacana, Sonas Agus Gro, Agus Gadeship Slán. Thank you, Dolkun.
Okay, bye bye.
Bye bye. Wiedersehen.